back in town on a red baby, don't make me wait. Body like, been a long while, and I just wanna taste this be alone. I put it down when I come around. We won't sleep no way.
All right, you guys, welcome back to Talking Smack. Today I have William with me. He is the founder of Sugar and Spoon along with a business partner. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit today. But would you like to introduce yourself? Anything you want the people to know or where they can find you?
Yeah, totally. My name's William. It's super exciting to be here because we haven't really sat down and ever chatted before. We've met once before, so I'm really excited to actually sit down and chat with you. Knowing that this is only the second time we met, I feel like we have so much to talk about, so much to relate with, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. Okay, so I guess my first question for you is, you started your business in your early 20s with a business partner. And from my understanding, did you guys meet in college or did you know each other before?
Yeah, we didn't meet till our senior year of college.
Oh, wow.
So pretty
Okay.
recently.
That's so cool. Okay, so where did you come up with the idea and how did this whole business start?
Yeah, the story goes way back. So do you want to like buckle up and get the full thing? Okay.
Let's go.
So I grew up in Shoreline. I went to Shorewood, and when I was a senior in high school, I knew I wanted to go to college, but I didn't put enough like thought and effort into where I wanted to go. And I remember sitting front row of AP Stats, and senior year in high school, you're applying to colleges. And I wanted to apply to USC. And the girl sitting next to me goes, "You're applying to USC?" And I'll never forget that moment. And I look back at that moment and realize like I've learned so much since then because I didn't apply to USC because she told me that. And I've learned like, you're the only one that's going to put limits on yourself. And I didn't apply to USC. I wish I did. I didn't take the college application process seriously enough because of that one girl's comment.
Wow.
I applied to UW. I applied to Shoreline Community College, and I applied to one California school. I applied to UCI. Who doesn't want to go to college in California, right? So I feel like it was effortless and without thought that when I got into UW, that was the school that I wanted to go to. Like growing up in Shoreline, I always loved Seattle and thought it'd be super cool to go to UW. So I got into UW and I thought that was like the big, like I made it, right? I got into school, super awesome school, like really looked high upon, especially in this community. And I was really excited. Little did I know that getting into college, like, is one check of the box. Like studying what you want to study in college is the difficult part, especially at a big school like that. So I knew at UW that I wanted to study business, and I spent the first 3 years of my college experience working on the prerequisites and everything to apply to the business school. Because without a doubt, like that's what I wanted to do. That's what I've been most passionate about. That's what like my dad does. That's what my grandpa did. It's like in my bloodstream to like be in the business world. And that's the mindset that I was most interested in. So fast forward to junior year of college, we're applying to the business school, me and like a majority of my friend group. And I'll never forget the day when we all got our decision letters, and my entire friend group was accepted into the business school and I was rejected. And I felt this huge sense of just like failure. And I had spent all of high school, 3 years of college working towards getting into the business school and finishing up my college experience, like kind of like how I saw normal would happen.
Right.
I just thought everything would like continue to unfold how it had, and it didn't. And it hit me really hard. And I remember going home and being like, what have I been doing? Like, do I need to transfer colleges? Like, did I go to the wrong school? I obviously need to change paths. I didn't have enough time at UW to reapply to the business school because with the decision process and everything, it takes like another quarter. And I was nearing my college experience and I hadn't got into the school that I needed to study in. So I looked at transferring, and I looked at a million different options. I met with different counselors in different schools. So I met with like the entrepreneurship or the economics counselor and the international studies counselor, just to figure out like how to finish college and how to end up with a piece of paper to like get this done with.
Right.
And all these counselors were just like, you're a senior, like, do you really want to do economics? Like nothing was fitting. And I felt so uncomfortable. and I really didn't know what I wanted to do. So I started doing more research in what UW offered, and I found that they had just launched a real estate minor. And I was like, okay, real estate, cool. So like drop the ball on business. That's not happening.
Yeah.
I got into real estate and my mind completely shifted. I was like, I'm going to be a real estate agent when I graduate college. So I'm taking this real estate course. I'm studying to be a real estate agent, doing my Rockwell. And during this, I found out that UW offers an entrepreneurship minor for non-business students. And it's brand new. I'm like, okay, this is like my calling, right? So I apply and I get in and I'm like, this is awesome. So I'm taking my real estate classes. I'm going to be a real estate agent. Like I'm on it. And then I start taking my first classes in the business school at UW. And I'm a like friendly, outgoing person and I make friends like effortlessly. But when I walked into the first business class, I felt so out of place because these people have been in the business school. They've have pre-existing friendships and ties that I did not relate to. And we're forming groups in this class called Creating a Company. And I like cannot get into a group. Like everyone came into the class. It's the first day. I'm like, how does everyone already know each other? Like these groups are already forming. And I felt like such an outsider. And I kind of settled with this group that was making a product that I wasn't very excited about. And I continued going to this class and there's this group selling cookie dough. And I'm so envious of the times they would go up in front of the class and talk about like what they wanted to sell and their journey. And I'm sitting here with my group, like of people that I didn't really like fuck with. And I'm like, what am I doing? And one of the girls in the cookie dough group was also studying real estate. So the bell rings one day at class and I go up to her and I'm trying to like ring out the answers to the real estate exam. I'm like, you went up in front of the class and said you were interested in real estate. I'm super interested in it too. She just passed her real estate broker's exam. I was like, yo, how do you pass? Like, where do you want to hang your license? What do you want to do? And we kind of hit it off on that. So we hit it off on the real estate thing. I'm still in this random group and then she's in this group selling cookie dough. After we hit it off, I didn't know this, but she went up to the professor and was like, could we steal people from other people's groups? And the guy was like, yeah, this is like a real life class. It's Creating a Company. It was such a fluid class. Like there weren't a lot of set boundaries or rules. You just kind of did what you want. And he was like, yeah, feel free. So I got a text from her that night and was like, do you want to be part of my group? And like without thinking, I was just like, yes. And then I took time to think of like what I was going to say to this group that I was with. But as little as a decision it felt to be then, turned out to be like such a pivoting moment in my life because like I'm still in that class in a way. I took that class into a real company. So I joined the cookie dough group and I finally felt like belonging and understanding, and it didn't feel like anything that I'd ever done in college. Like I felt belonging and it was so easy and relatable and fun and motivating. So I enjoyed that class so much. So it was a 2-quarter long class and spring quarter is all about like selling your product. So we're selling the cookie dough on campus. I'm part of this group. I'm loving it. And we're doing pop-ups on campus and selling our cookie dough. And I'm walking back to my fraternity one day after a pop-up and I'm calling my dad to let him know how successful it was. I was like, we did this much in sales off like a pop-up table. I'm like, that's relatable to like what the restaurant does on a weekend. So I'm like, I think we're onto something here. And he's like, okay, cool. Like, that's awesome. So we're wrapping up college. Me and Ivana both thought we wanted to be real estate agents. This cookie dough class is like kind of taking over like a lot of our time. We're doing pop-ups and people are coming like off campus to find us. They're messaging the Instagram account to find out like when and where we're going to be. And I'm like, we're onto something. So I'm like, we should really think about doing this like after college in real life. And she's like, what? Like, this is the class project. You're taking it so seriously. Like, what's up with that? Like, we're going to be real estate agents. Why do you want to sell cookie dough? We're going to be selling houses. And I'm like, I want to do this. Like, this is super cool. We're onto something. So me and Ivana sit down with our dads in the back of an Italian restaurant. And we're like, we want to do the Doughboys cookie dough like in real life. And we talked about doing it 3 different ways. We could do it through distribution and sell like our jars of cookie dough in grocery stores, or we could open up a shop and do like a scoop shop, brick and mortar type situation. Or 3, like the quickest and the cheapest way to market would be opening up a food truck and selling our cookie dough out of a food truck. And our dads were like, write 3 business plans. We'll meet back and we'll talk about this more like seriously and logistically. And Ivana loves telling this part of the story. she did not work on the food truck business plan at all. She was so focused on like the distribution, especially the scoop shop, and kind of left the food truck business plan in the dust. So it's our spring quarter of our senior year of college. We're wrapping things up in the class and we're writing these business plans, and we bring them to our dads and they're like, okay, let's do it. Like, we're going to start off with the food truck because, like I said, it's the quickest way to the market and the cheapest way to do it. So we graduate college and www.craigslist.com food truck. And there's one on there. And you've seen some whack food trucks, yeah? This food truck is plain white with stickers of every type of food you've ever eaten. So random. His menu was so diverse. Soup, salad, smoothies, like water, like every which direction, like what is going on? And we called the dads, our mentors, and we're like, there's one food truck on Craigslist and this is it. He's like, yep, that's the one. So we drove down to Kent, looked at it, and we spent the summer after our senior year of college with this white food truck in my driveway. We like scraped off those stickers, hired this guy off Craigslist to paint it white, started working on branding and packaging and how we wanted to sell our product, and brought it to market. So fast forward from that girl telling me what you're applying to USC and feeling so out of place in college, I felt such belonging and passion about this. And we're still doing it today, 3 years later. So that was our first truck. We've launched 2 since then. We had a tiny brick and mortar experience, and yeah, that's the long story.
That's so cool. Especially like, I know exactly how you feel. Like, I've had a couple people say things like that to me, or like when I dropped out of college, someone else saying like, oh, well, you're never going to amount to anything. Like, I had a close friend say that to me, and it held me back for a little while.
It sticks with you.
Oh my gosh. I was 18. I'm 28 now, 10 years ago. And that still sticks with me. But you're so right that like, it's your own thought process, or it's your own limitation that you put up in your mind that 100%. You can overcome and do anything that you want to. But, you know, looking back now, obviously you're probably grateful that it happened that way.
Yeah. And I think the biggest lesson I've learned is like, if you have passion and drive for something and you want to go do it, then go and do it. And like, you started a business in your early 20s as well, and people are going and doing like more normal things, more like stereotypical things, like going to get a job at Amazon or going to work for Microsoft. And then we're throwing everything out there and being like, we're just going to go with this. But passion can drive you forward, and no one's going to tell you to go for it, but you just have to believe in yourself and use your own passion to move forward.
Exactly. And I think too, just having the discipline to stick with it. Because I know there were so many times I was like, oh, should I be doing this? Like, what's going on? And then the passion is there and it can drive that. And you can continue to, you know, reach those goals that you want to. But I want to go back to, okay, so you have a business partner. Tell me a little bit about that, because I've always been solo and I've always wondered if it would be easier to have a business partner or if it's better to be alone, or have you guys had any tiffs about anything, or tell me a little bit about that.
Totally. So we hit it off the bat, like on real estate, and we both come from European families. So we had like common ground that formed our connection right off the bat. But we are totally opposite people. So Ivana is very like perfectionist, wants to double check everything. She can work on one task until it's like totally perfect. And I am not. I am like, we're getting it done. We're throwing it out there. I'm not a perfectionist. I'm like, I always say we can talk about it or we can get it done. So working with someone who's like opposite mindset can be like frustrating at times, because when we're trying to focus on a simple task, we can go about it in different ways, but it's so rewarding when we go about it in different ways and then meet at a common goal. And it's like kind of like double checking your work for everything. So at first we used to do everything together, like any little thing of starting our business, like we would be hip to hip, shoulder to shoulder, doing it together. And I think since then, over the 3 years, we've learned to put aces in their spaces. So the things that Yvonne is better at, she does. And the things that I'm better at, I will do. But we work side by side every day. And I can't imagine going on a business during your young 20s solo. It feels so good to have someone's support and help when I don't want to do something, she's there to do it, or vice versa. So how do you feel like starting a business by yourself? I mean, I can't imagine like having the guts to do it without someone by my side.
It was definitely scary because I didn't have anyone in the entrepreneurial world to ask questions. So I kind of just felt like I was thrown out on my own. And obviously I wouldn't have it any other way now. And I feel like I've learned so much through trial and error. And it's really taught me that it's okay to ask for help. I
Yeah.
think because I went out on my own, I was in this mindset of I have to figure out on my own. Like I have to figure this out. It's me. That's it. Like I don't have anyone else to rely on or, you know, brainstorm ideas with or anything. So it kind of just felt lonely in the beginning, especially too, like we were talking about this a little bit off camera, but starting a business in your early 20s, and for me specifically not having a business partner, anytime I wanted to talk about anything, nobody related to it. No one understood the struggles that I was going through. No one understood that it was really hard for me to turn work off. And even still, it's sometimes hard for me to turn work off because it's my baby.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you guys feel that way about your business. It's your baby.
Totally.
And there's constantly things that you can be doing. And so it's like hard trying to find that work-life balance. I feel like I'm finally in a place where I am able to feel comfortable taking a step back and being like, okay, I do need to step away from this and enjoy my life so I can feel really on when I come back to it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would definitely just say like it was lonely and sometimes it was really hard, and I felt like I'm being a people pleaser too. It was really easy for me to just overwork myself. And that was tough. Do you feel like you guys kind of check each other and you're like, okay, we need to turn this off, like we're done working for the night? Or do you feel like it's hard to turn it off as well?
I think that's one of the hardest parts of like owning a business is like I'm always thinking about it. And even when I don't want to be thinking about it, it's hard not to be thinking about it.
Right.
Especially with our business being like mobile and the trucks are on the road. Like you never know when I'm at the movie theater and I get a text that they have a flat tire and it's 9 p.m. and they're in Olympia and I don't know a tow truck driver who's going to get them from Olympia to Seattle and what are we going to do with the events the next day. It's also hard to like, I work from home and I wanted to ask you, like, since I work from home and it's hard for me to like separate work from business sometimes. Like if I get an email at 9 o'clock at night and it's a big event, I'm like laptop, like let me get on this right now because like I might as well. But when you leave the space, do you feel like, okay, like work is behind me and I can enjoy my like after 5 p.m. time? Or are you constantly like getting texts and pings that you want to attend to then and there?
Yeah, pretty much. And a lot of the time too, since I don't take clients anymore, I'm not in the space physically that often unless I'm in my office doing something. But I would say I come down maybe 2-3 times a week and it's maybe for an hour. And so a lot of the time I am working from home because I have my dogs at home and I don't like leaving them long in the kennel. And so I will, most of the time I'm like creating graphics on Canva at home, or I'm sending emails, I'm writing sales pages, I'm doing all those things from home. And right now I'm just set up at my dining room table. So anytime I walk by it and I see my laptop there, it's really easy to just sit down and continue to work. And I'll wake up and go straight to the laptop. And, you know, before I go to bed, I have to check my laptop. And so I've kind of built a new morning routine for myself where I don't touch my laptop the moment I wake up. And I like have, you know, drink my water. I used to drink coffee, but not anymore. So I think my mornings aren't as enjoyable without coffee, but we'll see. So I like have my water, I like journal, and then I'm like, okay, now I can get into my work. So I try to like have that me time first to at least like have that separate. But it's hard to not want to constantly be doing it, especially when you know there's always something that you can be doing.
So you said that one of the biggest things you learned is like to ask for help and use resources. Who are your key resources and what brought you to the point where you weren't taking clients? It didn't have to be in the office all the time, like, and were able to take the leap of being able to enjoy your me time in the mornings.
I started hiring coaches because I knew that there were areas in my business that I was struggling with, or that I knew like I didn't quite know everything about. And so hiring them really helped me kind of just gain clarity on what tasks I was really good at and other things to pass off. And then my assistant, I like to call her our creative director now. She is incredible. So I ask her for a lot of help, and I've passed off a ton of tasks to her over the last 1.5 years that she's been with me. And I feel like that has really allowed me to kind of take a step back more and actually focus on living my life and not just thinking about the business 24/7. And of course, like it's hard to turn it off, but I feel like I'm so much more at peace now that I'm able to kind of have a better work-life balance. And I mean, it goes in flows. There are times I'm feeling really creative and I'm working like crazy. And there's other times where I'm like, I just need to sleep all day.
Totally.
And I just need to be home and do nothing.
And it's nice to have the flexibility of that. That's like one of the perks of a small business owner, right? Is like,
yeah,
we choose like our daily schedule and how much effort we want to put into our business every day. And some days it's like, F yeah, let's wake up at 8 and get out. And other days it's like, you know what, I'm going to take today to chill.
Right.
Our businesses are our babies, and having other people like be an integrational part in our business, like your creative director and like my managers, like how does it feel to step off our responsibilities onto people, reflecting your company in their way? Like, so we take a step back and we're able to like have that me time, right? Like enjoy that cup of coffee or cup of water in the morning, journal, whatever it is. But in the back of your head, what do you think about other people like representing your brand, your company, and your baby?
I had a really hard time in the beginning, like hiring people on and passing off tasks, because I looked at it like, no one's going to do this as good as me. Like no one is going to write that text message back to this client the way I would, or like something so silly as, and I've said this before, but I was like, I'm the only one who can vacuum the space. Like I'm going to vacuum the best. Like it's just ridiculous little things like that. And trying to understand like, what is the best use of my time? Like what's my area of genius? And that's what I need to focus on. And the other things I can pass off. And it's okay if it's not done perfectly, because I feel like you and I kind of align on that. For me, I've always been not always, but learned to be a done is better than perfect, because I'd rather get it done and do it, because it can be perfected later if need be, especially with like the online courses or little things as simple as an onboarding email for a new student or something like that.
100%.
But yeah, so that was hard. How do you feel about that? Because how many employees do you have now?
In the summer, we bring like 50 people on board.
Wow.
And then this time of year, like once winter hits, we'll go down to like 20 to 30.
Mm-hmm.
But something so big I've learned is like other people can like do these tasks. And there's people out there who can take care of these little things. And I think something that has allowed our companies to like flourish and grow is that we're delegating these like smaller responsibilities onto people that we trust with our company and can bring it out to the full light that we want it to shine. And it's allowed us to not work on, you can either work in your business or work on your business. And it's so easy to get stuck in a routine of like texting all those clients, vacuuming the space, driving the truck to every event, scooping every scoop. But if we're able to have those positions filled, then we're able to take our company to the next step and bring it to its full potential.
When you get to that point of having 50 employees, is it hard to manage everyone?
Yeah.
Because that's got to be a lot. Do you get a lot of text messages or people like calling out sick or anything crazy?
Before the pandemic, our truck was parked at Westlake Center downtown on 4th and Pine every day, all day from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. It was like so simple. Our staff would pick up the truck from a spot near UW, drive it downtown. One person would light rail from this sounds complicated now, but we had it down, and it was like the same routine every single day. And then when we went through the pandemic and downtown became ghost town and everyone was working from home, we started parking our trucks in like neighborhoods, apartments, small businesses, corporate events, and we still do that today. So every day the truck is somewhere new. Yeah. And one of my attributes to the company is like operations, like each day, like figuring out who's going to be where the truck's going to be, who's going to be on it, who's driving it, what time do they leave, what time do they need to leave, what time do they need to get there, who's the host that they're communicating with, is it a paid for event, is it not paid for? So yeah, I'm constantly getting texts and pings like what's going on and where are we. Every single day is different. And that's one of the hard things about like after 5 p.m. is like after 5 p.m. like, yeah, the emails might slow, but the trucks are still out. And sometimes like I'll be laying in bed. Like last night, the truck was at UW campus till 11. And I was like, do I wait to go to bed until the truck's like home safe, or like they got it?
Yeah, that would be so hard. Especially like for me, I have one space, everyone's here. And so when we close at 6. So for the most part, like I don't have to stay up late. And of course there's like random texts late, but I feel like I've been better about waiting until the next morning to respond. But yeah, I can't even imagine having people out there and like trusting them. Like, how do you pick your drivers?
Oh my gosh.
Who drives?
So we have a really awesome staff. And like I mentioned to you just now, is like, it's hard to hire people for your small business because you want people to understand like everything that you did building up to it to make it what it is. And you want them to carry it with the light that you want them, that you want your business to reflect onto your consumer. We have a really like high energy, positive, hardworking staff. And we realize that work is like not a number one priority for us. We want them to be like getting their education or doing something, and work comes like second, and that's okay. So our staff picks and chooses the days they want to work each day. So on Sunday night, I put our schedule into an app, and they can preview the shift and see like where it is, how long they're going to be working, and who they're going to be working with, and choose to take the shift or not take the shift.
Oh, that's really cool.
It's super cool. But when they come to work, like I expect them to be like 110% energy, because I'm like, you chose to be here. So like bring it to your full potential. It's hard to keep everyone in order and figuring out where everyone's going to be at all times.
Yeah. Wow. That's a lot of moving parts. That's so cool. What is there anything that you would tell yourself 3 years ago when you first started this? Is it 3 years, right?
Yeah, 3 years.
Yeah. So is there anything that you would tell yourself now, like going back? Would you say anything like, oh, don't do this or do this? Would you have any tips for your previous self?
I just feel like I've learned every day, like we make mistakes and like learn from them. And I've learned so much from like starting a business. And what I would tell like anyone, including myself, is like, just go for it. Like if you have a feeling in yourself that you want to like start something and bring a product or a service like to the community or to a bigger sense like the world, then like do it. And like we talked about is like no one's going to stop you except for yourself. Like self-doubt or like other people's little comments, don't let it get to you. It's a learning experience, and life's too short to like keep it on the back burner and be like, should I have done that? I never want to look back and be like, I didn't pour my entire self into this,
right?
Because I could have done something bigger and better.
And I think too, like you don't have to start when you're 20. Like if you're 30 or you're 40 and you still want to do something, you should absolutely go after it, because like you said, life is short. You have no idea how much time you have here, and you might as well live the life that you want to live.
It's never too late. Yeah,
it's never too late. No, I mean, even now I'm like, do I want to start another business? Do I want to do something else like crazy? But because it's like, why not? Like you have to look at it like the world is your oyster. Like you can literally do whatever you want.
Okay, I love that you said that, because I was going to ask you this. Like part of the reason why like I'm always like on is because my brain does not slow down. Like I'm always thinking like, what's next? Have you thought of other ventures or businesses like outside of lashes, or is everything lash focused? And like, how do you see, I hate this question. I want to know if you hit it too. Like, what's your 5-year, 10-year exit plan with Maclash, and how do you see it growing? And like, what other things do you have brewing in your mind?
I feel like I've been wanting to kind of step out of the lash world, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to start a podcast. But for me, like when my brain doesn't stop working, I'm constantly thinking about marketing and social media ideas. And for me, I think it would be really cool to talk more just to any other businesses and not specifically in the lash world. Like I'd love to come on and help brands like redesign their content strategy and their like, I don't know, just their messaging and marketing. I feel like that is what excites me now. And of course, like I've been doing it in the lash world for so long, and it's easy for me to help other brands, but I'm more passionate about being like, it's a challenge for me now to step out of the lash world and do something different, because I could double down in the lash world and really go hard and probably, you know, do really well and continue to, you know, be successful with it. But I was like, not that I'm bored, because I'm still so passionate about this industry. I'm still so passionate about my students and everyone that I've been connected with. But I'm just like, I need a challenge again. I need something exciting and something like to really get my wheels spinning. So I feel like I'm moving in a way of, I don't think I would ever do like a product. I feel like that's a lot. Even just doing the t-shirts that we do are like, we don't have any room to like put our t-shirts anywhere. Or even thinking about when I did want to have a lash line and a whole brand, and, you know, realizing how much work actually goes into it and having to get a warehouse for products and things like that. I was like, I just don't know if that's what I want. So kind of moving into the idea of like social media consulting, but we'll see, which is kind of what I'm doing with my coaching right now, but in a bigger way.
So all of that growth and like the way you push yourself, is that all like reflected from within? Would you say that you're like your biggest motivator, and you're like hard on yourself to like like bring yourself out in the most that you could be?
Yeah, pretty much. Because I don't feel like I have let any like outside influences be like, you need to be doing more, or you need to do this other thing. I feel like for me, it's always been self-driven, which is great. And obviously, like sometimes too, like little things like opening a salon, I was like, oh, well, that's the next step. Like, this is what everyone else is doing.
Mhm.
That must be my next step. And I think if I had reflected inward a little bit more, I maybe wouldn't even have had a salon like this. And of course, I'm grateful that I am here now, and I'm grateful that I do have it. But I think for me, I'm like, I want less responsibility in my business. I want more free time. Like, I want to do only the things that really light me up.
Mhm.
And so obviously kind of moving in that direction. But yeah, it's been like awesome. I don't know. I couldn't see myself doing anything else. That's for sure.
Totally. And I think that's like being an entrepreneur is like
Mhm.
that inner self motivation that drives you forward, and like the nonstop head spinning of like, what could I be doing like to benefit myself, my future businesses and future
Mhm.
endeavors.
Do you guys have any other plans for anything?
I told you this, like, I hate the question about the future,
Yeah.
like the 5-year, 10-year exit plan is like, I'm just like rolling with it. I love my
Yeah.
job, and like, I think it's so cool. Every day I can wake up and like choose what I want to do. Like today I
Mhm.
chose to spend my day on Talking
Yeah.
Smack, and I love it. And like I said, like I might be doing a dump run later. If I don't feel like doing a dump run, I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I don't know, just rolling with it. The trucks are so fun, and I would love to continue like growing our fleet. But at the
Mhm.
same time, like how many techs and pings and flat tires are we getting? Like we can only do so much. So
Mhm.
growing makes me excited, but also like a little bit scared and timid.
Mhm.
But it's only myself stopping me from those thoughts.
Right.
And like I said, I don't want to ever like look back. And do you ever think like I don't want to look back on Backlash and think like I could have done this?
Mhm.
Like we
Yeah.
are like privileged and blessed to have like these small businesses that became like not so small businesses, and small businesses doing bigger things.
Mhm.
I never want to look back and be like, I could have done that.
Totally. And
But
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I was gonna say, and I think too, like thinking about regrets, like I don't want to have regrets. And of course, like I try to look at regrets differently now, like thinking about regrets from the past, like I've learned from them. But I think that would be a huge bummer looking back and being like, I could have done so much more with this
Yeah.
if I put more effort in, or if I did things differently, or if I passed off more tasks and I focused on this and didn't burn myself out like crazy. But yeah, I think you're totally right. I'm sure every entrepreneur thinks that.
Yeah. And it's all about balance when it comes down to it. Like we're both learning is like, we don't have to be hands-on with every single aspect, but bringing on an awesome team to help us with that. With social media consulting, like how do you see future of social media? And for both of our brands, like social media helped push us forward so much. Like at the start, like it was so important for us to like grow our Instagram following and be super having engagement and also being engaged with our followers. And that's how people find out like where our trucks are. Like we're relying on Facebook and Instagram, and TikTok really helped us launch our nationwide shipment program. And like for you, like you are on it with social media. Do you think that a lot of your success of your business came from being like so prompt and reliant on social media?
I think when I was taking clients full time, it was more just referral based. And like, of course, social media was great and it brought me a couple clients here and there, but it wasn't until Reels came out and I started really putting myself out there that I actually started signing coaching clients and more students, because more students found me on Instagram than anything else. And of course there were referrals from like local people, but I mean, I still am shocked to even say this, but I've had people like fly out from Pennsylvania to come train with me.
How powerful
And
is that?
like insane. And of course, like without the tool of social media, she never would have found me.
Yeah.
And like, so I definitely think it's helped with that, especially with the online courses and the coaching. It's been an awesome platform for me to, capitalize on.
How do you see social media playing out like in the future and like with future endeavors or way that you're going to grow up your business?
I think video is really powerful, and I think it allows you to connect with that person a lot better. And even brands, I feel like the small businesses with brands that the owners are actually stepping forward and showing their face is so much more relatable and being able to connect with a person rather than a product. And I love that you guys are really active on your social media too, and you're like, I love how you're sharing your employees and all the things, and like all the reels I've seen people make about coming to get cookie dough. Like it's just been really cool. And I feel like the more people are real and show up authentically, I think it's just way better and easier to grow faster and actually create like a cult like following that way.
I totally agree. Like people love a story, and a product
Mhm.
and a service is like one thing, but I feel like that's the past. We have to, and I think we've both done it, is like bring about this entire experience that
Mhm.
encapsulates your product or service and brings it to the next level. So people aren't walking away with just like a set of new eyelashes, but they're walking away with
Mhm.
like meeting a friendly person, being in this awesome, cool space, or
Mhm.
flying out from Pennsylvania to get one of your coaching classes
Mhm.
because of this experience that we've encapsulated around our
Mhm.
service or product.
Yeah. I never thought a free like photo sharing app was going to create so much opportunity for me. And I'm
Yeah.
sure like did you think anything of social media? Of course you knew, you were like, okay, we have to be on social media.
Yeah. We spend so much time and energy like scrolling through these feeds, and like everyone
Mhm.
is, and taking the extra effort and reminding people about your business for free on social media is such a powerful tool.
Mhm.
Yeah, I really value it. It's hard to stick with it, and
Mhm.
like being
Be
creative and coming
consistent.
up with content. That's really hard.
Mhm.
And for us, like we want everything to like look a certain way, and
Yeah.
not everything does. And behind the scenes is not always how it looks like on your Instagram feed.
Mhm.
So there's a lot that goes into it, and it's hard to stay on top of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's super important, and I'm interested to see how social medias like come in and come out, like how the future of them
Mhm.
will change.
Yeah. Okay, I want to switch gears. Have
Okay.
you ever had any crazy customers?
Oh my god,
Or
every
like
day. Are you
every
kidding?
day?
Every day.
What's the
I
craziest
have to
thing
think of a
someone
good
said?
story. Um,
Because you guys probably see a lot of people every
yeah,
day.
from like all over the state of Washington. So like we're like in a bubble, and like, okay, this is kind of a fun story. Not exactly a crazy customer, but I
Mhm.
spent 21 days like on the road this summer doing 3 fairs. So I
Oh my
went
gosh, fun.
kind of until you're living out of a motel, eating biscuits and gravy every morning for breakfast and working 13-hour days.
Oh my gosh.
I went to Moses Lake in
Mhm.
Grant County and did the Grant County Fair for 7 days.
Mhm.
I went to Kitsap County and did the Kitsap Fair, and I went to Skagit County and did the Skagit County Fair. My world was rocked. There are people out there that like I didn't know existed. I can't even like get into some of the stories because like this podcast would turn rated R, but I'm just like,
Oh no.
we are in such a bubble, and there are so many different people out there.
Like what they were wearing was rated R? Or
Just like ways people think about the world and life and stuff.
oh, okay.
Yeah, we're not
Yeah.
gonna get into it. Crazy customers. I mean, there's Karens everywhere.
Everywhere.
How do you deal with this could be like episode 2, like dealing with Karens. How do you deal with like negative Yelp reviews that like aren't true, or emails about your services that
Mhm.
people aren't happy about our product or service?
We've been really lucky to like kind of avoid the bad Yelp crew. I think we had one bad Yelp review, and I remember just responding to it and being like, I'm happy to have you back in. And this was when I had a couple employees in my first small space,
Mhm.
and it was written about one of the employees, and I was there the entire interaction with that client, so I knew it was completely untrue. And I even like stepped in and like tried to talk to her before she was leaving. Basically, long story short, she said she wanted a really natural set. She was worried her husband was going to think they were too much. She got up, she gave her a beautiful classic set, looked in the mirror and was like, I want them to be like a lot fuller. Like I wanted them really dramatic. And I was like, that is
That's
not what you said. So she wrote a horrible Yelp review, and I just responded to it on there and just said, we're happy to have you back. Like, we want to fix the situation, whatever. I emailed her. I tried to call her. She never responded or anything.
That's frustrating.
So I was like, okay, whatever. But we've only had a couple clients like call and be really upset. And I'm like, we're going to fix it for you. Because of course, I'm not like an angry person, but every once in a while I'm like, I just want to scream back at this person. And I'm like, why are you yelling at me like this? And so I remember one time I had to just say, you know what? I don't think we're going to be a good fit. I'm going to refund you for your last service. Wish you the best of luck. And she was like, no. Like she completely changed her tune. She was like, no, like I still want to see this employee. Like I still want to come in and get my lashes done. Like I just was unhappy with this one. It was like total 180. And I was like, I understand, but the way that, this phone call has gone, I think it would be better for us to just part ways.
Yeah.
And I'm going to refund you. And good luck finding a new lash artist, basically. And she ended up booking like a year and a half later. And so one of my lash artists came up and was like, wait, did you see that she booked again? I was like, do you want me to call her? She goes, no, I'm kind of interested. Let's let her come in. And so like ever since then, totally fine. But I was like, she just screamed at me on the
Oh my
phone.
gosh.
And I was like, bro, it's eyelashes. Like,
Yeah.
we'll fix them.
Totally.
We'll make you more full. Like, I think she was late to her appointment and she didn't get as full as she wanted. So it was like not even anything we could have done differently anyways.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just funny. Or like, I think the craziest thing is how much people expect from us.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't know. Lashes are great, but they're not the be all end all. Like, I don't know.
We're not
People
perfect.
get upset about things. Yeah, we're human.
Feedback is great. And like, it's a great way to like,
Mhm.
feedback can bring a better product or service in the future.
Right.
But sometimes people take it to like a whole new level, and like those negative impacts can like really affect like business and how other people see your business.
Mhm.
Like, not fun stuff.
No. I remember I used to like let a phone call like that ruin my whole week. And I would just think about it. And I remember after that last one, I was like, whatever. Like I still had that like weird body feeling, like
Mhm.
uneasy a little bit, but I was like, I'm gonna let that go. Like, I don't even care. Like,
I think that's
not a
super
big deal.
important.
And like, especially as a business owner, I feel like so many little things come up that you have to just like keep rolling with it. And especially those suck. But I mean, it's all part of it.
Well, how frustrating is it also that like that one call will bring us down for a day, where in that same day we served like X amount of people that,
Who were ecstatic.
and we never got
Loved it.
excited about that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that for a little bit. Do you celebrate your victories and take time and self-reflect and be like, I did this?
I never used to. I even remember, and I don't know why. I think because like the moment you reach a goal, you automatically have a new goal in your mind. And
Mhm.
instead of sitting to actually think about where you started versus where you are now, and honestly, not until like the last 6 or 7 months have I started actually celebrating every single little thing, because one, it makes life that much more enjoyable. And two, like you should be celebrated. You should celebrate yourself and like
Yeah.
your friends and all the things that we accomplish. And so I remember when I moved into this space, the floors went in, got painted, everything was moved in. It was our first day. And I literally was like, I smiled, I was like excited. And then I was like, all right, what's next?
Totally.
And I feel like it's so hard for someone who is constantly working and moving to actually take a step back and be like, no, like this is fucking awesome. Like
Yeah.
I need to get excited and celebrate. And so one of my friends recently, when the podcast first episode came out, they were like, let's go celebrate. And I was like, I didn't even think about celebrating. Like it just was, just another work thing. And so they have really helped me kind of look at things a little differently and understand that it's okay to celebrate and you should celebrate. So back to you. Do you guys celebrate all the little things, like even small?
No, not enough.
Yeah.
Like you said, like what's next, like task, like
Mhm.
check, awesome, like for a second, like feel good about it, but like what's next? And you shared how like 6-7 months ago you started celebrating, and you also recently shared like how you recently discovered like me time.
Mhm.
Tell me and tell the listeners like what was like the one or like maybe two things that like brought you that transformation and like new way of like thinking about everything and being able to like take more moments to yourself, also celebrate the little things.
I think I'm someone who's always put other people before me, and it's been very easy to just like not think about what I want or what I want to do and just put the other person's, thoughts, feelings, everything first.
Mhm.
And so really it kind of started when my ex-husband and I decided to get divorced, because a part of that was how much time I was working on the business, and the relationship was just not growing at all.
Mhm.
And basically for me, I felt like I lost myself in that relationship, and I wanted to get back to a place of being like, okay, what do I actually like doing? Like, do I have hobbies? Like, what's going on here? And another part of that was like, if you asked me what I liked to do, I would have, or what my identity consisted of, I would have said the business.
Mhm.
And obviously, I think that's a great thing if that's what you want. But I was like, one day do want to have a family. I one day do want to have children. But like, I also want to enjoy my life right now while I'm young.
Mm-hmm.
And I just started to take a step back and really reflect. And I think too, the moment my ex moved out, I was not here for like 4 months. I wasn't really working. I wasn't really posting on social media. I was like, I need to figure out who I am single and who I am like outside of the business so I can be a better business owner. So I can be more creative when it is time to work and just like be more at peace. So I think that's kind of where it started.
That's super
And
cool.
for me, journaling is, I feel like I can really get to the bottom of things when I'm journaling because so many things come up that I didn't even think I was thinking or think were affecting me. And so I started journaling, and now I like to journal every morning just to kind of, even if it's a couple sentences, just get some thoughts out.
Mm-hmm.
And then because I dealt with so much anxiety, I feel like it is a way for me to kind of transfer that energy and like let it go a little bit. But yeah,
That's huge. You took a break. You looked at your like life from like the outside in,
Mhm.
put me first, and did a lot of self-reflection. And
Yeah, it's like wild.
that's a huge transformation. Energy.
Mhm.
Like, how do you go about every day with like a positive attitude, brushing off negative energy, and like bringing your smile and light and good vibes into the world?
I think for me, it starts with, and that's actually something I started writing down. Every morning, I started writing down, like, what do I want to bring into this world today? And every day it's been joy. And I feel like that was something I was lacking for so long because I just felt down. And I think it starts too with surrounding yourself with positive people who also want to bring joy into the world and bring joy into other people's lives. And it was an intentional thing for me to understand that for me to be happy, I need to intentionally be joyful every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to bring that in. And so for me, like the negativity, of course it's going to affect everyone, but it is it going to affect me for 2 minutes or is it going to affect me for 2 hours? And so I start to look at it like, is this going to matter a year from now? No. Okay. Not a big deal.
That makes the biggest difference. Like brushing it off, moving on, and focusing on the bigger, better, more positive things.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you feel like you have surrounded yourself with pretty positive people? Because you're an extremely positive person.
Yeah. I'm like so like kind of intense about that. Like I hate negativity. Like I'm anti-negativity.
I can't be around it.
I don't like talking about it. And yeah, I think that's what keeps me like positive and just bringing good vibes. Life's too short. Surround yourself with the right people because they really do like bring you to who you are. And yeah, continue to like push ourselves through that way.
Do you have other friends that are business owners now? Have you like created a circle? Because I know you said where we talked about how like it's kind of hard to be relatable to your friends with the regular 9-to-5 or the Amazon job.
Yeah, it's hard because a lot of my friends like I call them normal jobs.
Yeah, like, no, I do too.
Jobs.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing on Saturday? I'm like, well, am I gonna have someone call out sick and am I gonna have to work the truck? Or like this Friday, like I texted my friend Jackie, I was like, we're getting dinner on Friday night, and I was like, I have an appointment from 5 to 8, but I'll be there after. And as an appointment, I mean working on the truck in Redmond, but I will be there after. It's hard, but I've learned to navigate around it. It's just like there's a lot of perks with it, but this is like one of the drawbacks. And we're getting better at like balancing it out. But more importantly, remember how I told you I go off and then try to remember the question? This is all coming back to something bigger.
Yeah.
But remind me.
Business owner friends.
Oh yeah. Okay. So through that, like I've learned to relate with a lot, like with other small businesses. I mean, like we became friends, but people who are going about like this journey that we're going through. So I'll give my small business shout outs to Setalicious Wontons, Life and Light Photography, people who are our age who are taking like these huge steps and taking their passions and like turning them into a product or service is like really admirable and so easy to relate with people. Like we sit down and we can talk about so many different things. And even though like we sell completely different things and go about our days completely different ways, when you sit down and talk about it, it's so nice and refreshing to hear that like someone goes through the same obstacles that you're going through and like we're not alone in this. And if it was easy, everyone would do it, but it's not. It's hard, and we're doing it. So every morning as a small business owner or as an entrepreneur, you need to wake up knowing that you're going to get punched. You don't know where it's going to come from. You don't know who's going to be throwing the punch, but like it's going to happen. And learning to like be either defensive or able to shake it off is like such a huge thing, and like taking the next step and going about the next day.
Yeah, that's so true. Something's always going to come up. And I feel like not even in business, just in life too. Like things hit you all the time. Somebody cuts you off, or Starbucks doesn't have your whatever drink you want. Like those little things, or you get the wrong coffee. Like, how are you going to let it affect your day, or are you going to pivot and still enjoy your life?
Focus on the bigger and better things. I was telling this story the other night at dinner. Like I was going across the 520 bridge, and this lady like slammed on her brakes, and I had to swerve into the left lane, and lucky there wasn't a car there. And my first reaction was to put my hand on the horn, and I stopped myself. I'm like, what the fuck is honking going to do right now? Like, forget that. Focus. Like, thank God we're all safe. No one hit their cars. Like little things like that. And like going about life in a more positive way, and focusing on the bigger picture, not getting caught up in these little tiny moments when, like you said, Starbucks doesn't have pumpkin spice or crumbles out of that yummy cookie.
And I think too, like, this is now backtracking a little bit, but thinking about like unhappy customers or people who like take their anger out on you or something, like also for the audience listening or anyone that needs to hear this, just remembering that it has nothing to do with you. It's their own inner world that's mixed up and angry, and they're choosing to take it out on you rather than like doing some healing or reflection or whatever to be a more joyful person and like not take those things to heart. Because I think that's what I used to do. Or even like thinking about someone cutting you off or slamming in front of you, like that would have sent me into a downward spiral the rest of the day, instead of being like, oh, whatever, they're a bad driver. Like I'm okay, I'm safe, I can go about my day and be fine.
Yeah, I'm retweeting that. That's gold.
Yeah, like it's insane. But yeah, do you have any other things you'd like to talk about? Or
yeah, I had one more question for you.
Yeah, I feel like I'm being interviewed on this one.
Well, because like I said, like we haven't had the opportunity to sit down and chat, so this is so nice. Another question I had was like, we started our businesses like in Seattle. If you were to redo it all over again, like do you ever picture yourself being like in another city? And yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I love the idea of like, so basically the lash world is really popular in Utah and really popular in Arizona, and of course like California, all over. I feel like it's popular in Washington, but not as popular in the other places. I would love to live somewhere else just to try it, but I actually think Utah's really beautiful. And the only thing about Utah, now I'm just going way down a rabbit hole. The only thing about Utah is there's so many lash artists there that the price is so low. So I don't think you're making big profit margins the way that, you know, we might be here. And Arizona prices are really expensive too. So, I mean, if I had to go somewhere else, I'm no longer allowed to be in Washington, I'd probably go to Arizona or California.
Okay. Sunny weather. Good vibes. I'm with you. Both of us, like, we've always been in Edmond shoreline area. Like, we've never ventured out. Did you live anywhere else ever in your life?
Right after high school, I lived in LA for the summer.
Okay.
And so it was just, I think it was like 8 weeks. And it was so much fun. It was really cool. And I feel like that's where I started to change my mindset about worrying about what other people thought about me, or like having this high school Mackenzie, like who she was and her identity, and shifting into knowing like when I moved to LA, I was like, no one knows me here. Like I can be whoever I want to be. No, like, you know, and so that really gave me the freedom to, you know, start trying new things, or having the confidence to be like, you know what, you think I should be doing this, or you're judging me for not going to college. Like, I don't care. I'm going to do whatever I want because you're not living my life. You don't know what goes on in my head. And yeah, I feel like that really helped me. Have you lived anywhere else?
No.
Yeah.
And like, I think that's why we both like thought about it, is because like, what if, or like, if I do that, would that work? For me, like our business, like, really slows down like when the clouds and the rain comes. Like yesterday was the first day that we had like shitty weather here, and I was just like not mentally there. But I always think like, what if we actually did this in like a city where it's like sunny all the time, like Arizona or Southern California? But at the same time, like we're so connected and inner-rooted here, I feel like I would never be able to leave, even though it's so tempting. So I'll stick to the other places for like traveling and enjoying those places in little doses, but I feel grounded here and I feel content and happy.
Me too. Well, I think this concludes our episode.
Sad. Thank you.
I know. I'm like, it goes by so fast. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you being here.
Of course, it was really nice chatting with you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you guys for watching or listening. Like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you can get notified every Thursday at 10 a.m. To be entered to win a t-shirt, give us a comment on our YouTube video. All right. See you guys next time.